All right, ready to unlock some serious savings potential.
Let's do it.
Today, we're diving deep into, well,
A treasure trove.
yeah, a treasure trove of money-saving tips, from that Mapping Money article.
10 essential tips for saving money on every budget.
Yes, published just last week. So let's unpack it.
Sounds good. Figure out how to make these tips work for everyone.
Exactly.
Great article, really. Covers everything from, like building a solid financial foundation all the way to smart spending habits, maximizing those hidden perks people forget about.
We're going to hit all those areas.
Yeah.
Emergency funds, budgeting techniques, the magic of automation,
Oh, I love that.
employer benefits, mindful spending, free entertainment, grocery hacks, and
Yes,
even,
transportation costs. Ways to cut down.
and get this, the article claims that just by using a budgeting app could be saving around $200 a month.
I mean, who wouldn't want an extra 200 bucks?
Right.
You see that it's often, the small, consistent habits that make the biggest difference.
Absolutely.
But before we get into those specific tips, let's start with the bedrock of any solid financial plan, the emergency fund.
Yeah, that's so important. It's funny because whenever I hear emergency fund, I just picture this giant,
Like Scrooge McDuck.
yeah, like a vault
For a minute.
full of cash,
Yeah.
like something out of a movie.
Right.
But the article really brings it down to earth, talking about it as a safety net.
Exactly. Think of it this way. Would you feel more confident walking a tightrope with a safety net below?
Oh, absolutely.
That's what an emergency fund does for your finances. It provides that psychological buffer, that peace of mind, knowing you can handle unexpected bumps in the road without derailing your entire financial life.
Yeah, those bumps always come up too.
Always.
They recommend having, 3 to 6 months of living expenses tucked away. Now, I know that can sound like a lot,
You can.
a huge mountain to climb.
It can be daunting, but the key is to break it down into smaller, more achievable goals. Even starting with a goal of $500 can make a huge, difference psychologically.
I think so too, because once you get that initial buffer, it becomes easier to keep building, like a snowball effect.
Precisely. And the beauty of an emergency fund is that it not only prepares you for the unexpected, but also empowers you to make better financial decisions overall.
Right.
You're less likely to make, rash choices out of fear or desperation when you know you have that safety net.
For sure. Okay, so we've got our safety net secured. Now let's talk about budgeting. But I love how the article frames it as understanding your money rather than restricting it.
Yes.
I like that.
Exactly. It's not about deprivation or feeling like you're constantly on a financial diet. It's about making informed choices and aligning your spending with your values and goals.
The article mentions a bunch of different budgeting techniques.
Yeah.
From classic tracking and categorizing to using cash envelopes or, those budgeting apps.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried any of those methods?
I've experimented with several, actually. The key is, finding what works for your personality and lifestyle. For some people, like the visual aspect of cash envelopes can be a game changer.
Right.
But for those who are more, tech savvy, a budgeting app might be a better fit. It's all about finding a system that helps you stay, engaged and on track.
Yeah. I actually tried the cash envelope system for a while.
Oh, cool.
It was definitely eye-opening. It makes those slip-away categories like, dining out or entertainment so much more tangible, when you see the cash dwindling down.
Absolutely. It brings an element of mindfulness to your spending. And speaking of making things easier, let's talk about automation, the secret weapon for effortless saving.
I'm all about making things easier, especially when it comes to saving. The article talks about, setting up automatic transfers, those set-it-and-forget-it systems.
Such a powerful tool because it really leverages the psychology of habit formation. By automating your savings, you remove the decision fatigue of having to manually transfer money each month.
Right.
It becomes a seamless part of your financial routine, almost like paying yourself first.
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The article even gives a specific example, right? If you set up a $50 weekly transfer to your savings account, that adds up to $2,600 saved annually.
That's right. And they highlight a statistic that people who automate their savings are statistically more likely to reach their goals.
I believe that.
Makes sense, right? You're essentially taking the emotion out of the equation and letting the system work for you. Plus, when you factor in the magic of compound interest,
Oh, yeah.
even small, consistent contributions can grow significantly over time.
Speaking of goals, that's our next stop on
Yeah.
this savings journey. The
Yes.
article emphasizes the importance of having both short-term and long-term financial goals. It's like having a financial roadmap, right? To keep you focused and motivated.
Absolutely. Short-term goals provide those like quick wins, that
Oh.
keep you going, like saving for a vacation or a new gadget, or even paying off a small debt.
Mm-hmm.
They give you a sense of accomplishment and momentum.
Yeah, that feels good.
Feels great. And then you have those long-term goals like buying a home or retirement or even financial independence, which might seem far off, but every small step you take today brings you closer to that vision.
I love that they asked the listener to imagine achieving one of their financial goals,
Yeah.
to really picture that moment, how it would feel. I think that's so powerful.
Visualization is more than just like a feel-good exercise. It actually helps to solidify your commitment and make those goals feel more tangible, achievable. It shifts saving from like a chore into an investment in your future self.
Okay, so let's move on to something that I think everyone loves, free money, or at least the equivalent of it.
Okay.
The article dives into maximizing employer benefits, framing it as, money you're entitled to.
It's like a hidden treasure chest that so many people just completely overlook. One of the biggest missed opportunities is neglecting employer matching contributions to 401k plans.
Right. Yeah.
It's essentially free money that grows tax deferred over time, yet many people just completely miss out on it.
And it's not just about retirement accounts either.
No, there are often other benefits like health savings accounts, HSAs,
Mm.
tuition reimbursement, employee discounts, even flexible spending accounts that can, significantly reduce your taxable income.
Wait, back up a sec. You mentioned HSAs. Could you break that down a bit?
Yeah.
It's not something I'm super familiar with.
Sure. So a health savings account, or HSA, is like a special savings account, right? Specifically for healthcare expenses.
Oh, okay.
The money you contribute is tax deductible, it grows tax-free, and you can withdraw it tax-free
Yeah.
for, qualified medical expenses. It's a triple tax advantage. It's a great way to, save for future healthcare costs, especially if you have a high deductible health plan.
That's super helpful. I'm definitely going to look into that. The article also mentioned something called vesting schedules. What's that all about?
Ah, yes. Vesting schedules determine, when you're fully entitled to employer contributions to your retirement plan.
Okay.
So, for example, you might have to work for a company for a certain number of years before you're fully vested, meaning you, like, own 100% of those employer contributions. It's important to, understand your company's vesting schedule so you don't leave money on the table if you change jobs.
It's amazing how much potential free money is out
Yes.
there just, waiting to be claimed. Okay. I'm ready to move on to something a bit more, shall we say, mindful.
Okay.
Let's talk about mindful spending. And I love how the article presents it not as being, cheap, but as being intentional with your money.
Yeah.
And making choices that truly align with your values.
It's about recognizing that, our spending habits are often driven by emotions rather than logic. We buy things to make ourselves feel good, to keep up with the Joneses or to fill some sort of void in our lives. Mindful spending helps us like break that cycle and make choices that bring us genuine satisfaction rather than fleeting gratification.
One strategy they highlight is implementing a 24, 48-hour waiting period for non-essential purchases, like hitting the pause button on those impulse buys.
Exactly. By introducing like a pause, you give your rational mind a chance to like weigh in, and often you'll find that the urge to buy has completely passed, or you realize like you can live perfectly well without, whatever it was you were tempted to buy.
Yeah. They also suggest calculating the cost of items in terms of hours worked. That can be a real perspective shift. Suddenly that, pricey pair of shoes might not seem so appealing when you realize how many hours you'd have to work to pay for them.
Right. Reframes the value of, both your money and your time. Encourages you to ask yourself, is this purchase worth X hours of my life? And, speaking of those little things adding up, the article brought up a classic piece of advice that we often dismiss: saving your spare change.
Oh, yeah. I remember my grandma used to say, take care of the pennies and the dollars will take care of themselves.
That's it.
I always thought it was just an old saying, but the article claims even saving 50 cents a day equals over $180 in a year.
It's true. Small amounts can really add up, especially when you make it a consistent habit. They suggest using, like a jar, emptying your pockets regularly, or even leveraging those roundup apps, those ones that automatically stash away your spare change from everyday purchases.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah,
It's like sneaking in savings without even noticing.
exactly.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this first section,
We have
but we still have a lot more to unpack.
so much more to unpack.
I'm excited.
Welcome back. Ready to explore some more creative ways to stretch your budget without feeling deprived.
Absolutely. I'm especially intrigued by this next section about free entertainment. Because let's be honest,
Who doesn't love
who doesn't love to have fun without breaking the bank?
Exactly. The article makes a great point about, how so much of our leisure time is tied to, like, spending money. But it challenges us to think outside the box and really tap into the wealth of free or low-cost options,
Right.
that are available often right in our communities.
And they offer some really cool suggestions too.
Yeah,
Libraries, community events,
I love.
volunteering at festivals. I love that idea. Get free admission while giving back.
Oh, that's a good one.
Parks, nature reserves. It's amazing how many enriching experiences are, like right at our fingertips,
Yeah.
often completely free.
It's about, finding joy and fulfillment outside the realm of consumerism. And, free activities often lead to unexpected connections and discoveries. You might meet new people, learn something new, or simply stumble upon a hidden gem,
Yeah,
right in your own city.
totally.
Hmm.
Last summer, I was looking for something fun to do on a weekend, and I stumbled upon this free outdoor movie series in a local park. It was such a blast.
Mm.
They had food trucks, live music, and even a little market with local vendors.
Oh, nice.
It was a perfect summer evening, and it cost me absolutely nothing.
That's awesome. That's a perfect example. And it highlights, like, another benefit of free entertainment. It often encourages us to connect with our communities, try
Right.
new things.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's get down to something that is a major part of everyone's budget: food.
Yes.
The article goes deep into, some food-saving strategies, really emphasizing the importance of meal planning and shopping lists.
They're not kidding about the impact those two seemingly simple habits can have on your grocery bill. Think about it. Meal planning helps you avoid, like, those last-minute takeout orders or impulse purchases at the store because you already know what you're having for dinner each night.
Yeah, I mean, they claim you could cut your food costs by up to 20% just by planning your meals ahead of time.
That's a lot.
I know, I've tried it in the past, and I have to admit, when I'm organized enough to actually, like, make a meal plan, I definitely notice a difference.
Absolutely. It's all about, being proactive and taking control of your food spending. And when you pair meal planning with a well-crafted shopping list, you're even more likely to stick to your budget and avoid those impulse buys.
They say using a shopping list can save you an additional 25%.
Wow.
That's almost half your grocery bill just by being organized.
Seriously.
Talk about a return on investment for a little bit of planning.
Right. And let's not forget about, those classic money-saving tactics like coupons and loyalty programs.
Yeah.
They may seem a bit, old school, but they can still make a significant difference. The article mentions families saving an average of $1,000 a year just by being strategic with coupons and loyalty programs.
That's amazing. I'll admit, I'm not always great about, like, remembering to use coupons, but hearing that statistic definitely motivates me to be more diligent.
Yeah, it's worth the effort. Even if
Yeah.
you only save, like, a few dollars each week, it adds up over time. And don't forget about the power of buying in bulk. It's especially effective for, like, non-perishable items that you'll use regularly.
That makes sense. But I always worry about buying in bulk and then, you know, ending up with a pantry full of stuff that never gets used.
Mm-hmm.
Any tips for avoiding that bulk buying trap?
Absolutely. The key is to, be selective. Focus on staples that have a long shelf life, like, pasta, roast, canned goods, beans, lentils. Think about the items you use consistently and do a quick calculation to see if buying in bulk actually saves you money. Don't feel like you have to go all in on bulk buying. Start small and gradually build up your stockpile as you figure out what works for you.
Okay, let's shift gears and talk about transportation.
Okay.
Another major expense category that can really drain a budget, especially with the way gas prices have been lately.
Oh, yeah. The article highlights a few key strategies for, reducing transportation costs, starting with something that's both economical and environmentally friendly: carpooling.
Hmm.
They claim that sharing rides with colleagues, friends, or even neighbors can save you an average of $2,000 a year on fuel and maintenance.
Wow, that's a serious chunk of change. I've definitely carpooled in the past, and it makes a huge difference. Plus, it's a great way to, like, connect with people, maybe even make some new friends.
Totally. And then there's public transportation,
Uh-huh.
which, depending on where you live, could reduce your transportation costs by up to 45%.
Wow.
Plus, it's a more sustainable option, reducing your carbon footprint.
It's a win-win for your wallet and the environment.
Exactly.
But I know um, some people have, like, a bit of a mental block when it comes to public transportation.
Oh, yeah.
They might have had a bad experience in the past or have, like, preconceived notions about it being inconvenient or unsafe. Any advice for overcoming those hurdles?
It's all about challenging those assumptions and giving it, a fair shot. Do some research. Explore the different options available. Maybe even try it out for a week or two. You might be surprised by how convenient and, cost effective it can be.
Yeah, that's true. They also talk about those hidden costs of car ownership, the ones we often forget about. Like what's
Things like insurance, parking fees, tolls, depreciation, those costs can really add up significantly over time. And when you factor them in, public transportation often becomes an even more appealing option.
and then there's the often dreaded topic of car maintenance. I'll admit, I sometimes procrastinate on those routine checks, but the article makes a good point that neglecting, those small things can lead to much bigger, more costly repairs down the road.
Right, right. Think of it as an investment in the longevity of your vehicle,
Right.
regularly changing the oil, rotating tires, checking fluids. These things can really, prevent major repairs that could set you back hundreds, even thousands of dollars.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And when it comes to, travel, they offer some smart booking tips, booking flights in advance, traveling during off-peak seasons, checking out budget airlines, comparing fares across multiple websites.
I'm all about finding those travel deals.
Mhm.
I love using those travel aggregator websites that, compare prices from different airlines.
Mhm.
And I've definitely learned that being flexible with my travel dates can lead to some serious savings.
Yeah. Sometimes just shifting your trip by a few days or even choosing a less popular destination can make a huge difference in the cost. And don't underestimate the power of, travel rewards programs. Those points and miles can really add up and help you save on future trips.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of, practical tips for saving money. But what I really appreciate about this article is that it goes beyond just the how-to
Yeah.
and delves into the why.
Well, why?
Behind our financial habits, they highlight the psychological aspects of money and how our mindset can either help or hinder us on our financial journey.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It really is.
Our relationship with money is so complex, and it's often driven by emotions rather than logic.
Right.
We might overspend to impress others or to soothe our anxieties or to fill some sort of void in our lives.
It's like that saying, money is a tool, but it's also a mirror,
Ooh, I like that.
right?
Yeah,
Reflects our values, our priorities, even our insecurities.
exactly. And when we can become more aware of those emotional triggers, those underlying beliefs, we can start to make more conscious choices about how we spend and save our money.
The article also talks about, the importance of cultivating a positive money mindset, focusing on what we can control, celebrating our successes, not beating ourselves up over, mistakes.
Yeah, it's about shifting from a scarcity mindset, that feeling of never having enough, to an abundance mindset, which is the belief that, there's enough to go around and we can create the financial future we desire.
I love that they emphasize the importance of self-care in, managing your finances. It's not just about crunching numbers and, sticking to a budget. It's about taking care of your mental and emotional well-being as well.
Right. When you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, you're more likely to make impulsive decisions, right?
Yeah.
That can derail your financial goals. So taking time for yourself, practicing mindfulness, seeking support when you need it, these are all essential parts of this journey.
We're almost at the end of our deep dive, but we have one more fascinating section to explore. The article dives into some common money myths and misconceptions that can often hold us back from, achieving our financial goals.
These myths can be so pervasive, so insidious, They can make us feel like we're not good with money or that investing is only for the wealthy or that we need to have it all figured out before we even start.
I'm ready to bust some myths. All right, let's shatter some of those money myths, huh? The ones that might be holding us back. What's the first one we're tackling?
Well, one of the biggest myths out there is that you need a ton of money to start investing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it can feel intimidating, like it's only for Wall Street types.
Right.
But the truth is, you can start small, even with just a few dollars.
That's good to hear. I always thought investing was this exclusive club for, for the wealthy, but I'm guessing things have changed, right?
Yeah.
With all the technology available now.
Absolutely. There are so many micro investing apps and platforms these days that make it easy and accessible for, anyone to dip their toes into the investing world. You can literally start investing with the spare change from your morning coffee.
I love that. It makes investing feel so much less intimidating.
Right.
What's another myth we need to debunk?
Well, here's one that can really hold people back. The idea that you need to be a financial expert to manage your money effectively.
Right.
Sure, it helps to have some knowledge, but you don't need a degree in finance to create a budget, track your spending, or make informed decisions about your money.
I think that's where a lot of people get stuck, honestly. They feel overwhelmed and think, I'm not good with numbers, or I don't even know where to begin.
It's understandable, but there are so many resources available now, apps, websites, podcasts like ours that break down those complex financial concepts into bite-sized pieces. You can learn at your own pace, and you don't need to become a financial guru overnight.
Right, right. And let's not forget about the power of, learning from experience. I know I've made my share of financial mistakes along the way, but those missteps have taught me valuable lessons, helped me, refine my approach over time.
Exactly. It's all part of the process. The key is to be, open to learning, adjust your strategies as needed, and not be afraid to ask for help when you need it.
Okay, what other money myths are we busting today?
Here's a big one, that debt is always bad.
Oh, interesting.
While it's true that high-interest debt can be a major burden, not all debt is created equal, right? There's good debt, like a mortgage on a home or a student loan that can help you invest in your future. And then there's bad debt, like high-interest credit card debt,
Yeah.
that can quickly spiral out of control.
That's a really important distinction. It's not about avoiding debt altogether. It's about being strategic and using debt wisely.
Right. It's about understanding the terms of the debt, the interest rates, and how it fits into your overall financial plan.
And it's important to remember that everyone's financial situation is unique. What works for one person might not work for another. There's no, one-size-fits-all approach to managing money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to, do your research, seek advice from trusted sources, and most importantly, trust your own instincts.
I love that. Trust your gut. Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive into saving money on every budget.
Wow. We did it.
We did.
Yeah.
What are some final takeaways you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I think the most important takeaway is that, financial well-being is a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs, wins and losses, but the key is to keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving towards your goals.
I couldn't agree more. It's not about being perfect. It's about progress. And remember, even small changes can make a big difference over time.
Start with one tip from this deep dive, one that resonated with you. Maybe it's creating a budget, automating your savings, or simply being more mindful of your spending habits. Take that first step and keep building from there.
And remember, you don't have to do it alone. There are resources available, people to support you, and a wealth of knowledge right at your fingertips.
Financial empowerment is within your reach. Every step you take towards financial freedom is a step towards a more fulfilling and empowered life.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We hope this has given you some valuable tools and insights to help you on your own financial journey.